In this tutorial, you'll learn how you can take all of your old worn out socks and turn them into a really cute accent pillow. If you want to replace your old socks that you're using to make this pillow from, or if you would rather just use new socks, make sure and head on over to funsockcity.com to check out all of our fun sock options.
My name is Anna, and on this channel you'll learn all kinds of DIY projects, all using socks. So let's get started on this tutorial. You'll need the following supplies.
The first thing you'll want to do is gather all the socks that you want to use for your repurposed pillow. You can do it by theme. As you can see, I'm using all donut socks, or you could do it by color. So they don't even have to relate to each other, but if they had similar color tones or complementary color tones, that would look good too. Once you have your socks gathered, we'll prep them for putting together for the pillow. So what I did was I laid mine out to kind of see how I'm going to have my pillow be. And these socks right here, because they're knee highs, I can use this whole top portion, the front of it one time, and then I'll be able to use this back portion another time. So this one I'll be able to get 4 strips from these knee-high socks right here. But all these other socks, I'll just be using the front, which if you're using old socks, that's perfect because they usually get holes in the toes and in the heel, right? So we won't even be using that portion. So the way I decided to lay it out is the front of my pillow and my back of my pillow are gonna look exactly the same. I'll have black, teal, turquoise, and teal again. And then on the back, it'll be the same thing, black, and then I'll have on the other side of these teal ones in here, the turquoise, teal, and it'll just be reversed the same on each side. So to do that, I'm gonna leave the tops on all my socks, but for these ones where I'm just using the front portion of the sock, I'm gonna cut along the very edge, cut the very tip off. You wanna get as much of the usable sock as you can and do the same thing down the other side. And you can discard the back portion and just save this front part. For these knee-high socks, you can lay one of the shorter socks on there and just cut it off at about the same spot. For these, make sure you just keep both sides. So repeat that same process for all the rest of the socks. We're gonna need to pin all the pieces together, have them facing wrong side to you because that's where you're gonna sew. And you can hand sew this, but a sewing machine will make it go a lot faster. So to start out with, pin the very tops together on that edge where they meet, and then you're just gonna work your way down this line where they meet. And you'll pin it all the way down at the bottom. And we're not gonna trim this bottom edge until after we've sewn it together. And you'll repeat this on all of these socks. Now go ahead and sew these up. And I'll be doing about a 1/2 inch inseam. Now that you've got all the different sock pieces sewn together, we're actually gonna pin it together in the shape of our pillow. So it's not gonna be huge, it's gonna be just a cute accent. If you wanted to make a larger pillow, you could actually use this all as the front and trim it to the size that you want by trimming off the excess pieces, and then measure a coordinating piece of fabric to go along on the back. And so then you could have a larger pillow. But for what we're doing, we're going to keep it smaller. And so to begin with, you're gonna pin this even edge together and start at the very top here and just pin every couple of inches or so. These parts are gonna be really thick, so you'll want to take your time through there if you're using a sewing machine. And this is already sewn, so you don't need to worry about that. Go ahead and do this top edge right here. For this, you want to find which sock is your shortest. Looks like it's about these two right here. And all we're going to do to fix this is we're just going to trim everything right in a straight line down that edge. Now you could use a ruler. As you can tell, I like to be a little more relaxed in my sewing. My mother would die. Mom, do you watch these? And then on this side, you're actually gonna sew most of it and leave about this last chunk of sock, this last section of sock, unsewn so that we can turn it right side out. Remember to stop here. I'm going to put a needle going that direction so that I remember to stop there. And so then go ahead and sew everything shut at all the seams where you're starting and stopping. So right here and there, there and there, and also right here. Backstitch it a couple of times to make sure they're nice and strong. Once you've sewn it all together, you can go ahead and reach in and turn it right side out. Find the corners and push those out, and then go ahead and stuff it. I'm going to be using Poly-fil. I've heard of some people using actually more old socks to stuff pillows, and you'll stuff it to your desired fullness. Make sure you really push it in to the corners. Every now and then check it to make sure you're getting it evenly stuffed. So I've got it mostly filled. On this corner where we've been stuffing, you want to put in plenty so that after we sew it closed, you can move that stuffing into the corner. So it's kind of going to look a little bulgy right here. See that bulge? But then we're going to move it into the corner and it'll be okay. So at this point, we're going to hand sew this shut. To start out with, I'm going to just pin it closed to help hold it in place. I have just white thread that I've double looped and then tied in a knot on the end. And then in your pillow, you're going to first lock your knot into place, and that means coming in the fabric underneath on the inside, but then putting your needle between those two threads by the knot, and then pull that tight, and that's going to be down on the inside. And I just like to weave it back and forth, and then I'll pull it out after a little bit, and then I'll do that same thing. Weave it back and forth between those two pieces of fabric that you're joining, making sure that you're always tucking those ends in. Then when you get to one of the needles, you can pull that out and continue on to the next needle, all the way to the very end of this opening. When you get to the end, go ahead and tie a knot by pushing the needle in at the seam underneath some of the already sewn threads, then bring it out and push it through that hole that you just created. And then you're going to push your needle in at that seam again by the knot that you created and push it out somewhere away from that spot. Then cut that off, push the filling into there, adjust it so that everything's equal and where you want it. And that's it. That's how you make a repurposed sock pillow. You're reusing your socks and turning them into something totally new, and you turn out with something really cute. Make sure you like and subscribe. Also, let us know in the comments below if you did it, or if there's another video that you'd like to see in a future tutorial. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.